Hello and welcome to Non-Inkables. This is the Non-Inkables podcast. I don't know what episode we're on. I think 15. We just got back from Gen Con, so super tired, but it was super fun. We're definitely going to go back next year. We went, basically, the only game we play is Lorcana, so we don't play any of the other games. We did see some friends there who also play like One Piece and stuff, and then there's obviously a ton of board games. We got there Wednesday night and went to pick up our badges from Will Call, because I figured if I had it sent to our house, I would probably forget to bring it. So I was like, oh, we'll just pick it up at Will Call. And then all the lanyards they're Neopets themed. So there's a new Neopets game called Battle Dome, which I will talk about. And so all of them are Neopets themed, and I thought that was super cute. When you pick up your badges, you can also pick up your event tickets. So badge gets you into the conference, and then you can sign up for different things with their like event tickets, right? So like we signed up for a bunch of Lorcana tournaments, and then you could also get event tickets for like some learn to play for different games. There's like escape rooms. I think Brian's brother went on some like architectural urban walking tour, but there's so much stuff to do. And the Lorcana stuff we signed up for was kind of like random just because I totally missed the day of when to sign up. So it was kind of like just seeing what was open. And they had a lot of different types of Lorcana games available. The line for Will Call was pretty long that first night. I think we were in line for probably like an hour. And then it's weird because like some of the things they had electronic tickets for, and those you could like cancel through the app or online, but you wouldn't get a refund. It would just be refunded to system credit. But the paper ticket ones you could get a refund for, but you had to go to like the customer service area. And I ended up having to cancel something because we were supposed to go to dinner and I totally forgot. And so those were fully refunded. The only problem with that is, like, one of the days, Ryan stayed in our hotel room because he had a fever. And I was like, you probably should just rest. And so I wanted to sign up for a bunch of stuff, but, like, you need to pick up a paper ticket. So you have to factor in the time that it takes to, like, stand in line and get the ticket. And so I think I bought some tickets at, like, 7:30 a.m. and I tried to pick them up at 8:30. And they're like, oh, well, usually it takes, like, 2 hours to process. And like one of my events was pretty early, like was going to be pretty soon, so I wouldn't have time. And so luckily they checked in the back and it had like just been printed. And I feel like that's just super inefficient. There's another time when like I finished a tournament and I was looking through the event list. I was like, ooh, there's one that's like open that wasn't open before. And it's in like 30 minutes. And so I tried to ask them, be like, hey, I want to do this tournament, but I don't think I'll have time to stand in line and get a ticket. But if I show you that I bought it, can you register me for the thing? Because like you give them the paper ticket and then you have to fill out a form that says like has your name and your Melee email address and then like which event it is, even though it's on the ticket. I mean, maybe not your email address, but the rest of the information is on the ticket, and then they put you in Melee. And so I was like, hey, if I show you that I bought it, like, can you just sign me up? And the guy was like, no, I can't. You have to have the paper ticket. And I was like, but I'm not going to have time to get the paper ticket. And he was like, I can't register you. And I was like, well, this is stupid. So I ended up just taking a nap instead. Yeah. So that was kind of frustrating. I feel like in this age, why can't it all just be digital? Like, why can't they just scan your badge? And like, the badge has a barcode on it, and I don't think it was ever scanned. Like, the people checking when you go in just are like looking, and you have the badge and they just let you in. So they're not like checking it with your name or anything. And then when you pick up your event tickets, you just show them your ID, and then you have to tell them your email address as like a secondary confirmation. So we played in a bunch of Lorcana tournaments. So they had, for Lorcana, they had constructed, like regular, 3 rounds of Swiss, best of 3. They had sealed, also best of 3. Everything was best of 3. They had draft. They had sealed/draft. So I thought I signed up for sealed, but turns out it was like, I signed up for first chapter, second chapter. And the first chapter part, they gave you 3 packs of first chapter, and that part was sealed. And then they gave you 3 packs of Floodborn, and that part was a draft. So it was like hybrid. And then they also had starter deck chaos, which is everyone just randomly gets a starter deck. And then you are allowed to like use the booster pack that comes in the starter deck to change your deck. And then you just play with that. And it really depends on which deck you got. So on one of them, I got like a red blue. And then another one, I think I got like a first chapter or something. Yeah. So they also had a multiplayer constructed. So it's 4 people total. You only play 2 rounds instead of 3. And you're basically playing against 3 people. And so, yeah, those are all the different types. We did a bunch of them. We don't really play any other games, so we didn't really sign up for anything else. During the tournament, we did sign up to learn to play the new Neopets game, and it's super cute, and we bought some cards. And then we had friends there who we bought some like One Piece for them because there was like an allotment. And let me show you some of the stuff. So they were giving out in line these pins. They're Mickey Mouse. They have a little one because it's a 1-year anniversary of Lorcana. And so they were just giving these out if you were in line for the booth to buy stuff. They also had, let me see, I'll show you guys all the stuff. Where did I put it? It was literally just in my hand. Oh, here we go. They also were giving out the Flotsam Jetsam card. So the same one they were giving out at the Disney Challenge if you were in line. And then every time you played in a tournament, they would give you one of these Scrooge McDuck promo cards. So we have like, I don't know, like more than 10 of these. And then the prizes for the tournament, if you won the round, you would get 2 packs of Ursula's Return. If you lost the round, you would still get 1 pack of Ursula's Return, which is good because the prices were kind of high compared to like our local game store. So like a sealed, I think was like $60 almost. And then a constructed was like $22. Plus there was like a fee for processing. And then if you won all 3 rounds in your tournament, or all 2 rounds if you're playing the multiplayer core constructed, you win a mat. So we won 2 of these. I won mine in a starter deck, and I think Brian won his in a sealed, but it has all the ink colors. And I think they did one last year too. And so that's exciting. So we got the mat. That was really cool. And let's see, other logistics. We stayed at the JW Marriott. So we got our room through so when you sign up for Gen Con, you can also sign up to be part of the hotel lottery. And we picked the JW Marriott because it was connected to the convention center. So you wouldn't have to walk outside. And I think out of the choices, I felt like it was the best deal. And it ended up being like less than $300 a night, like maybe $200 something. And I think their normal price, like without the Gen Con deal, one of our friends looked into it and it was like $800 a night or something crazy. And then they have like a big room that has a bunch of tables where all the tournaments for everything is held. And then there's like a second room, big room, that's the exhibit hall. And that's where all the booths are. And then there's like some smaller rooms for different things. So they had like a Latina lounge. They had like one that was filled with like retro arcade games. They had one that was just for kids that had like crafts and like toy swords and stuff. There was a room that was called like Gamers, like GAY. And I didn't really go into any of the other ones. Oh, there was one room that was just testing new games and giving feedback. And then outside there was like an area that had a lot of food trucks. And then there was also the stadium. And the stadium had I think it's called like the game library, where we were originally going to go Saturday until Brian got sick, but you pay like $12 for a day pass, and then you get to check out games and play them all day. And it's in like a giant, I don't know, football stadium? No, not football. Basketball stadium? I don't know. I don't know sports. In a big stadium. Yeah. So pretty fun. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about the games I played once I find my notebook. There we go. I would say everyone there was pretty nice. I did see one guy get really mad. He was playing one of our friends, and she was playing Green Steel in the constructed, and he got kind of like, he kept complaining about it, and she was like, I didn't even play Bucky. I don't think she saw her Bucky, so she didn't even play Bucky, and he was just like so mad about it, which I thought was weird. Okay, so let's see. The first day, on Thursday, we went to a booster draft. That was the 4th set, and that one, let's see, I think I won the first one because I had Alma and Isabella clutch. The second one I got OT. The guy had Hidden Cove and it made stuff too strong for me. And then I think I won the last one. Nope, I lost the last one. And then after that, I played in a starter deck Chaos. That is when I won my mat. And it's really interesting, like the level of players. There's like super casual players. So while I was there, I played someone who, like, she plays sometimes, but not very often. But she technically has been playing since the first set. I met someone who learned that day how to play. And then there's like people who were in like the top 6 at the challenge. So it's very interesting. So when I played in the starter deck, the first person I played said that they normally play like green purple. So they just quested with all their characters. even though their characters only quested for 1 and mine quested for 2. And I think they attacked my Montanui location 1 time, and that was the only time their characters ever like attacked anything on my board. And then, I played that one I almost lost. So the person I had, they managed to play Grammatala on 2. On 3, they sang One Jump Ahead of Grammatala and played Mickey Mouse Detective on 3. So they were at 5 ink and they were on the play. So I was at 2 ink and I was like, what is this ramp deck? This is a starter deck battle. It was crazy. I was like, what? I was like, I'm happy that you got that to work. But I think I ended up beating them in the end. Yeah. And then I played in a multiplayer. So I've never played multiplayer. In my deck, I didn't even know I signed up for a multiplayer. I thought it was just a core constructed because I can't read apparently. And so last minute before that game started, I took some Kakamuras out of the stuff I had from Sealed and starter decks and things like that. I added in 3 Kakamuras and I added in 1 Pirate's Life for me to my normal Ruby Amethyst deck. And the first round we played I thought it was super fun. So I was Ruby Amethyst. There was another Ruby Amethyst player. There was a Yellow Steel player. And then there was a Purple Steel player. And so everybody would the Yellow Steel player, I think, quested the fastest and got to 17 lore. And then I just started bouncing Kakamuras. So each time you play Kakamura, everybody loses a lore. So I just kept bouncing Kakamura, and it was so annoying because they would get close to 18, and then I would just do that a couple times and bring them back down. And the poor other Ruby Amethyst player she was like, well, now I'm at 0/-4 lore. And in the end, I almost won. I was at 18. Yellow Steel was at 18. I couldn't top deck a goat to save my life. And they ended up top decking a song, and they had 2 flutes out. But they could have probably won 45 minutes earlier if I hadn't been bouncing my Kakamura so much. But I thought was super fun. The next round I played had 2 Emerald Steel decks and an Emerald Sapphire deck. So everybody had discard in their deck. It was not fun. The Emerald Steel deck that had Prince John had all the cards. Everybody else had 0 cards. The Emerald Sapphire deck almost was able to take care of their board because they had Under the Sea, but it got discarded. And then they put out a McDuck Manor and all this stuff. And then the other 2 Green Steels are like, why aren't you attacking the Emerald Sapphire deck? Because that deck was technically winning. And I was like, because I don't like Emerald Steel so much that I'd rather the Emerald Sapphire win. Yeah. And by that time, we were all a bunch of losers. We lost the first round, so it's not like anyone was getting a mat. We were just playing for 1 additional pack. And so we were just like, let's end this and just win quickly so we can all go home and eat dinner. Yeah, and the events went pretty long. So the latest event every night was at 8 p.m. and was for 3 hours. So you didn't finish till 11. The first day they ran kind of late on a lot of stuff by the end of the day. That got better as the days went on. But yeah. And then, I played in a sealed draft that was first and second set. So sealed for the first chapter part and then draft for the Floodborn part. The first person that I played had a sad, tragic beast and Cogsworth and kept hypnotizing me, so I had no cards. So that was no fun. And then the second person I played, they had pretty good cards. They had a B prep and a 7-drop Ursula, but they never got enough ink to play it, unfortunately. And then the third person I played, I think, was relatively new, was not very hard. And then I played in another starter deck, and I played 2 games. And then because I lost, there was no chance of me getting the mat, and I'd already gotten the promo card, so I just dropped after the second match because I was like, I'd rather go and eat dinner. And the second match I lost, they had a Ruby Emerald first chapter deck, but it had so many evasives, and I didn't have anything to do with the evasives, so I was like, there's nothing for me to do. And then for the constructed tournament I played, it was crazy because I thought it was going to be super chill, and it had Jebus and Sailor. Did it have Jebus? It definitely had Sailor, and then I think it had some other person. Anyways, it had the person who invented Sisu on Ice, who made that deck. And then somebody, I don't know if he was the one who was top 6 at a DLC, and then someone else was top 16. It had really good players. I got to buy the first. And I was like, yay. And then the second round, I played Red Purple Mirror, and I won. I feel like I'm usually pretty okay with playing the mirror. And then the third round, I played Blue Steel, and I feel like I always lose Blue Steel, and so I was like, So I lost. Let's see. I played in a sealed. They had Kita and Piglet, which was, oh, that's sealed. It was my first time calling a judge for something. So they had on the board Akita, Piglet, Pirate Piglet, the legendary one that's in steel, and then they had both of those on a Pride Lands. And I played an Avalanche. And so in my head, the Avalanche gets rid of the Pride Lands, does 1 damage to Kita, does no damage to Piglet because it has resist. And then the person kept trying to say, like, no, because Pride Lands gives the 2 characters +2 willpower, and so like Kita would go from 7. So she's normally 5 willpower. So because of Pride Lands, she would go to 7. And then when I do my Avalanche, she would go to 6. And then when you get rid of Pride Lands, it would be 5. Like she wouldn't have any damage. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. So I had to call a judge, and it was like a lot of back and forth because I think in the end, the ruling was correct. I was correct. But like the way the judge said it made it sound like she was correct. And then it was just like, okay, so to be clear. And I was like, but you're making it sound like she has resist. So it was like the first time I called the judge, but it was good because I feel like then we cleared that up. And then I feel like in my head, I thought that the resist wouldn't, I don't know why I thought like the 1 damage would still happen. I think I was thinking about like when you move damage with Belle, like even if you have resist, it doesn't matter. It's still, the character still gets damaged even if it has resist. But in this case, the resist should counter the 1 damage from Avalanche. And for some reason I was like, that's how it works in Pixel. Yeah. The second game I won because I had Maui and Hook. And so I just kept those 2 on board. And then it was kind of like a stalemate. Neither of us wanted to quest because it would lead to bad trades. But because I had the Hook and I could use it for free because I had a Maui out, I would just like quest with 1 character and give it evasive. And then so because of that, I was able to win. And then the last game, I think we ended up going to turns on the last game. And I luckily had a bunch of characters on board. And then I put out some locations that they were unable to deal with. The second game I lost. They had, what did I even write? I knew when I wrote it down that I wouldn't be able to read it. They had Beaking Undisputed. And then it looks like I wrote Bergduro. I don't know what that means. But they had very good cards. Anyways, that I could not deal with. And then the last game, I won twice on the draw. And I think that was the person I played who learned to play in the morning. And she was just happy to get 2 double digits in lore. And then I ended up giving her all of my common, uncommon cards because we have so many cards, we don't need those, right? And then the last day, I played in a constructed, but instead of using my regular deck, red, purple, I just used Brian's deck and played purple steel. First game was against blue steel, and I won. And I was like, oh, maybe I should switch to purple steel because I can never win that matchup when I play red, purple because I somehow match up with really good blue steel players. And then the second game I played against red, purple, won 2-1. And then the last game I lost. It was against red, purple again, but I think they just piloted better. They also had Tremaine in their deck. That person also, I will put a picture up. The person had a Trump mat, and then also his Elsa deck box had Trump's face over Elsa's. So that was interesting. It's from Ohio. Yeah. And so I took a picture of it, and then I think someone else came over to take a picture of it because we were like, oh, interesting. And he was like, where are you from? I was like, California. Yeah. So anyways, that is the Lorcana stuff we did. And then we also learned how to play Neopets. So when we were playing Neopets, we went to do so they had like a learn to play event that you could sign up for, but those were all full. So we went to the booth, and then you can sign up to learn to play there. It's like half an hour. And so we signed up and learned to play. And then they give you a little promo pack of 2 cards, right? And the 2 cards, so of those 4 cards that we got, Brian pulled a extended art Blackwing, which I think is pretty rare. I tried to look it up online, and there's not even any like record of its existence. And so I was like, oh, interesting. So then we went and bought 2 starter decks so we could play that. And then they also had this cute little thing where you could take a picture in front of a green screen, and then they could make you into a Neopet card. So I thought that was pretty cute. So we did that. And then we bought 2 starter decks. And then the next day I went back early and got in line so that we could get the booster box, because you could get the promo card if you got the booster box. But when we went the first day, they had already sold out. They had already run out of the promo card. So they were like, come back tomorrow morning. And this is the promo card. It's a Shoryu. It's so pretty. And then each booster pack comes with like one of these rainbow cards. It's like textured and it's rainbow. And then there is a card in that deck. Oh, I was talking to somebody else who plays where they basically said it was like a one-sided Be Prepared plus I Find My Platinum, and we ended up pulling that card. So that's pretty cool. And the cards are so cute. So like this comes, I think, in the starter deck. It's a uni and it's like all holographic and stuff. And then you can use paintbrushes to turn them into like the fire version, and then the stats are better usually. And then there's like a starry version. And look at this girl, Soup Fairy. I used to play Neopets a lot and I didn't even realize that it was still an existing website. And I tried to log into my account and I don't know what the password is. I tried to send them like an email, see if I can get access, but I don't think I've logged in probably in like 15, 20 years maybe. Yeah, and so that's a new game that we got. I don't know how much we're going to play with it because now that we're back, the goal is to start play testing stuff for set 5 to get ready for Vegas. So I don't know how much we'll be playing Neopets, but the cards are super cute and it's so much nostalgia. I'm like, oh, I remember I had this Neopet. I like Kachik and Mincy the monkey. They're just so cute. Yeah. So that is, I think, a summary of our experience. We didn't actually do any card trading or anything like that. I did take a look at a lot of the booths that had to see if they had the enchanted set we were missing, but they were all like $20 over the price on TCG Player, so I didn't buy any. Oh, when I was looking at the booths, I did almost buy a tiara. And then luckily someone else was blocking it, and then I was like, okay, I'll come back later, think about it. And then by the time I came back, all the pretty tiaras were gone, so I did not buy a tiara, but I was very close to buying a tiara. I did buy like a deck box because we had so many cards and we needed a deck box just to transport everything home. But yeah, I would say overall a very good experience. We definitely want to go again next year. And this time I'm not going to miss the signups to sign up for all the Lorcana stuff so that we can join more Lorcana things. They also had starter deck tournaments for like new players where they like show you how to play the game and all that stuff. So that was very cute. Ravensburger also had like a Gen Con specific puzzle that had Guinevere, I think is the name of the dragon. Looks kind of like Charmander. And then I didn't realize this, but they had like this paint party thing where I saw it when I was waiting for one of my tournaments where everyone was painting this cute little picture of a mama sloth and a baby sloth. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was an option. I would have signed up for that. And then they were also promoting their game, Oh My Pigeons. And if you bought the game there, you could win a plushie from like a claw machine and also I think a pigeon pin. But there were so many adorable games. There was like this really pretty game called Yokohama. And I'm not sure what happens in the game, but it's something like city planning kind of thing. I had a lot of tiny pieces, but it was so cute. I put myself on a list for this like knitting cat game where like the goal is you're trying to make different articles of clothing and you have like different patterns of like stuck net or pearl or all this stuff. And I was like, oh, it's my two hobbies combining. There were a lot of really cool dice for sale and dice holders, a lot of cool clothes. I saw a lot of people in kilts, which I'm not sure what that's about. Like there's a lot of like Renaissance clothing and there's like some cosplay stuff and then like a lot of guys in kilts. And I don't know if that's from a specific game or maybe it goes with the Renaissance stuff because a lot of like, I think Dungeons and Dragons is maybe around that time period. I'm not sure. There were so many cute, like I wish I played Dungeons and Dragons because there were so many cute like Dungeons and Dragon t-shirts that were like puns. And they also had like these really cute like D20 dice earrings. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I wish I played the game because I could get such cool merch for it. I would say Lorcana was probably like a small portion, pretty small portion. But it was like when we went to SCG, that was like obviously mostly Magic, right? I feel like at Gen Con it was like every game was pretty equal in terms of representation. There were so many games. Oh, we also did put down a deposit for a game table. So it's like one of those tables that is like, there's like the cover part that comes off, like the wood panels come off. And then there's like an inset part with felt. So you can like play your game and then you can like put the cover part on it and still like eat dinner and stuff. And so we bought one of those, or we put it on a deposit and then we'll have to like figure out the colors and all that stuff. But it was very cool. And I think it was cheaper than what I remember because I got a targeted Instagram ad a while back for that company's tables. And I remember when I looked that time, like they seemed a lot more expensive. I feel like they were cheaper. And then because we put the deposit down at Gen Con, it was like you get a free $250. And you know, I'm all about the deal. So yeah, overall, I would say Gen Con, super fun. Definitely going to go again next year. And then I was thinking about it because like D23 is this weekend and we chose not to go to D23 this weekend. if I would want to go to D23 this weekend, but I feel like I probably would rather do Gen Con. Because I feel like D23, there's a lot of like, well, I actually haven't been, so I don't know, but it seems like it's definitely not like, LoreCon is not like the thing, you know? Not that it is for Gen Con, but I feel like there's a lot of other Disney stuff that I might not. Basically, I want to play in tournaments. I want to win these really cool mats. So I'm going to go to Gen Con. And I feel like everyone there was really nice. And it was interesting to see like all the different people and talk to them about how their local game stores are. And there's a lot of people with Ursula set champ mats. And playing against them, I realized that our locals are so hard. I played against so many people with like a champion Ursula mat, and I was like playing them. I'm like, oh, I think that was a misplay, or, you know, like as you get better, you can tell like when people make mistakes that you used to make. So I felt like that a lot with these people with champion mats. And I was like, I don't have a champion mat. I didn't even get a card this time. And I was like, maybe it's just because our locals are so hard, because everyone in our area is just so good. Yeah. So it's just interesting to see the difference in level of players. And part of me is like, oh, I wish our locals were easier, because then I could get a mat and stuff easier. But also I'm very thankful for our locals being so difficult, because really you play with the best, you become better, you know? I feel like if you're always playing with people who aren't as good as you, you think that you're really good, and then maybe you go to a challenge and realize, oh no, I'm not actually that good. Whereas I feel like I prefer, as the Chinese saying goes, I prefer to be a phoenix butt than a chicken head. This is what my mom always says. So you can either be the worst out of all the best, that would be the phoenix butt, or you could be the best out of the worst, and that would be the chicken head. And so I think in this case, I would rather be the phoenix butt, so that I could become eventually one day the phoenix head. Whereas I feel like if I were the chicken head, I would already think that I'm the best and I wouldn't improve. So yeah, overall, such a fun experience. I definitely recommend to people to go in the future if you can. And if you can, try to get a hotel that is attached, because then you don't have to walk outside when it's like humid and hot and gross. And then it's so much easier, because you'd be like, oh, let me just drop this off in my hotel room, or let me just like go take a nap to refresh. And I think it's just, if you can get it through the lottery, it's so much cheaper. And if you can find some friends to stay with and split it, even better deal. Yeah. So great experience. Looking forward to this week. I think I will I did record a video about the remaining cards before I left, and then I realized I was missing some cards there, so I never posted it. So I probably will re-record that. And then we'll move on. We're cooking for Shimmering Skies. Our team has been cooking up different decks, and then I've been cooking up a silly deck that it's literally, okay, so the deck I'm cooking it's red-purple, but it plays Kakamura. This, I think, from my multiplayer core constructed experience. It plays Kakamura. When you play this character, your opponents lose 1 lore. It plays Lady Tremaine. When you play this character, your opponents lose 1 lore. It plays Shirkan. When you banish another character, you gain 1 lore. And so it's just, I would say it's a trolley deck, where basically you don't have requests. You just attack them and you keep playing characters that make them lose lore. So even though they're questing, like they're still going down in lore. I don't think it's that good of a deck. It's mainly just for fun right now that I'm playing on Ink Table. It did win against the Daisy aggro deck that the Amber Amethyst has been floating around. And I feel like it probably would just make people be mad and tilted if I played it in real life, but it's pretty fun. But I will start cooking more serious decks. This week we are going to a starter deck tournament at Fantomic. So the usual like starter deck tournament, pack per win, but you also can buy a booster box for 110. And so hopefully we'll get some cards from that, and then another sealed on Sunday at Fantomic. One day I will learn how to say that store's name. Yeah, so that's what we have planned so far, and then just a lot of cooking, a lot of testing for Shimmering Skies. It's the first time without Pixelborn. I do actually have the setup, I think, to be able to do Pixelborn Connect. We set it up like in where we do a lot of like our card unboxing things, but I need to get like a little stool for there. Otherwise I'm just sitting on a mat and it's very uncomfortable. But Brian did set it up so that I have it now on my computer table. And so it should be easier for me to play. And yeah, that's it for me. Let me know if you guys have any questions about Gen Con. As always, keep shuffling, and hopefully you don't end up with a whole handful of non-inkables like me. All right, bye.